In a previous video, I showed you my go-to mobility movement for the thoracic cage, especially when it comes to the sport of golf and improving rotation. Now, when we look at golf and we look at where in the body we need to go mobility from, the go-to areas, in my opinion, are the thoracic cage and the hips. If we have great mobility in the thoracic cage and the hips, then we can take the stress off of our lumbar spine, and typically that is where we get most of the injuries from in the game of golf, is from the lumbar spine, especially the lower lumbar spine at the levels of L4, L5, and L5S1. So now in this video, what I want to do is I want to show you my go-to movements to create mobility of the hip. So there's going to be 3 stretches, and then there's going to be a mobility movement at the end. Now the first stretch is for the Soaz. So the Soaz attaches on all of the lumbar spine and attaches on the inside of the femur. And if the Soaz is tight, it will pull the ball up into the acetabulum or up into the socket. And that's going to create a compression. And whenever the body perceives compression or stress, it lays down tissue. And we want to just go ahead and gap and open up the hip a little bit. So to stretch the Soaz, if we do the right Soaz, I'm going to have you kneeling, both knees, bring the left foot up in front of you. Now when you bring the left foot up in front of you, you should be able to see your entire foot in your peripheral vision, so I can see my foot, and my down leg is straight up and down. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my forearm on my knee, I'm going to put my hand down toward the ground, do not come forward, okay? Hand down to the ground. Now step number 1, kick the right knee out and do abduction. So now my thigh looks like a kickstand on a bicycle. That's number 1. Number 2, keeping your pelvis still, take your ankle and bring it all the way out. So you'll see my ankle is disappeared in the camera, but if I bring my femur into internal rotation, that brings my ankle bone or my ankle out. Now what I'm going to do, it's not mandatory, but I like to push my outer ankle bone down to the floor. So that's step number 2. Step number 3 is the most important. I'm going to tuck my tail, okay? So it's called a posterior pelvic tilt. It's called a retroversion. In golf speak, they call that a C-curve. If you give it cartoon characters, Donald Duck had a big butt. Pink Panther had no butt. So you want to tuck your tail underneath you. That's the most important move. Do not let that go. Now the step number 4 is you're going to come away from the ground, but keep your elbow on your thigh. And now bring that right arm out like you're playing Spider-Man. Spread the fingers, pull the wrist back, push the palm forward. And now the next move, what we're going to do is we're going to bring the pelvis way forward. So you're bringing your femur into extension. I am now feeling a real deep pull down my psoas. I'm going to tuck my chin. And the last move I call the money move. You're going to push your right knee down into the floor, almost like you're dislocating your hip. That's going to go ahead and that's going to open and going to pull the ball away from the socket. That increases the stretch by 2-fold. I'm going to hold and breathe for 30 seconds. My chin is in, my eyes are down. I'm going tall with my spine. The more I tuck my tail, the more it pulls. The more I bring my pelvis forward, the more it pulls. After 30 seconds, you're going to very slowly relax. Put both hands down on the floor, and now we're going to switch sides. And let's go ahead and go through those steps again. So I'm kneeling, I can see my right foot in my peripheral vision, right forearm on the thigh, left hand straight down to the ground. Step number 1, take that left knee, kick it out like a kickstand on a bicycle. That's abduction. Number 2, take the left ankle, bring it out. That's internal rotation of the femur. Push your left ankle bone down to the floor. Step number 3, the most important, tuck your tail. Pull the tail underneath you. Pull the pubic bone up toward the nose. Now from there, do not let that go. Come away from the floor, keep your elbow here, chin is in, eyes are down, erect the spine, play Spider-Man, and now bring that pelvis as far forward as you can without losing that tuck. And then the last move you're going to do is you're going to push that knee down into the floor like you're dislocating your hip. And again, you're going to hold and breathe for 30 seconds. Once the 30 seconds is up, you're gonna slowly relax. Now, if you wanna get the greatest mobility from your hip joint, my suggestion for you is you're gonna do each side 3 times. The first time, you're getting used to the position, you're feeling it, you're not going all out. The second time, you're gonna go a little further into the stretch, and then the third time, you're gonna try to go a little bit more maximal into the stretch. So ideally, you're gonna do 3 times on each side for 30 seconds. Now, my second go-to stretch is for the very powerful, big rotator of the hip, makes up most of your pelvic floor along with the levator ani, and that is the obturator internus. The obturator internus is a very difficult muscle to stretch, especially for a lot of guys, because the position to get in is not easy, so I'm going to try to give you some modifications for this particular stretch. So not only is the obturator internus a powerful rotator of the hip, again, it also makes up your pelvic floor along with the levator ani, and it also is very intimate with a lot of the internal organs, and especially for the males, the prostate, for the females, the uterus, etc. So this muscle is important to keep a bit of a mobility in, a bit of a flexibility in, so that the tissues can glide. So we want to get into what's called the 90-90 position. So I'm going to sit on my butt. I'm going to bring that front thigh straight out from my body. So my thigh is straight out from my body, my knee's at a 90. That's the first 90. My back thigh is straight out from my body this way, and my knee's at a 90. Now, if this bothers the medial collateral ligament, the ligament on the inside of your back leg, you can always play with angles. Sometimes if you bend your knee more, it takes the pressure off of the ligament. Sometimes if you straighten your knee a little bit more, it takes the pressure off the ligament. For me, if I bend my knee a little bit more, that helps me. Now, in this position here, you're gonna prop yourself up. Look at how I have my hand. I'm up on my fingertips, and I want to prop myself up as tall as possible. I'm always thinking about my posture. If this position here is difficult for you to get into, then go ahead and put a pillow or put a wedge or something underneath your butt, okay? We always work with what we have, what our body gives us. And no matter what our body gives us, we can always try to improve on it. Now from here, I'm going really tall. My chin is in, my eyes are down. I'm going to push my left knee down to the floor. And now my right sit bone, so my right sit bone, that bone that you sit on, it's off the ground. And if your right sit bone would be on the ground and your left knee would be on the ground at the same time, you probably don't need this stretch. But I do, so I'm going to push my left knee down to the floor, and I'm going to try to sink my right sit bone into the floor. And then, here's where it gets spicy. From here, what I want to do is I'm literally going to take my belly button, and I'm going to turn my belly button over my back thigh as far as I can, bring my arms out in front of me, I play Spider-Man, I grow really tall, and now, once my belly button is turned over here, in my mind, I'm trying to lead with my belly button, and I'm trying to bring my belly button over my right knee. Now, obviously, that's not going to happen, but that's what I'm trying to do. So I'm like this, I'm leading with my belly button, I'm going forward, and then the last move you want to do is if I put my finger on your kneecap, I want you to gently push your kneecap into my finger. Again, like somebody's pulling your hip out of its socket, and you're going to hold and breathe for 30 seconds. Okay? Now, if you can't do what I'm doing, you can always keep this hand down here on the floor, turn your belly button, and then go forward. You could go ahead and you could tie a rope onto something and hold yourself up with the rope. If you had a stool or a stability ball, you could put a stability ball here and lean against it as you go that way over your leg. It doesn't matter, whatever you need to do the stretch, that's what's important, and you're going to hold for 30 seconds. When you're done, slowly relax, switch sides, bring that right leg in front now in that 90 position, back thigh straight out from your body, 90-90. Prop yourself up really tall. Push the right knee down to the floor, sink that left sit bone into the floor. And now we're going to turn our belly button over our back leg, grow really tall, lead with the belly, go forward over your left leg, and the last thing you want to do is drive that left knee that way, like you're dislocating your hip, and you're going to hold and breathe for 30 seconds. When you're done, you're going to slowly relax, and again, on this particular movement, If you can do it 3 times on each side, you're going to see a vast improvement. Now the last myofascial stretch that I want to do is for the adductor brevis. So the adductor brevis, you have several adductors, but the adductor brevis is a really small, can be very tight muscle, very high up in the groin area. And when that muscle gets tight, again, it restricts mobility and it can pull the head of the femur up into the acetabulum. On this particular stretch, it's pretty straightforward. You're going to go on your hands and knees. I call this the frog position. You're going to bring your knees out, okay, into abduction. But that's not the priority, so don't bring your legs out as far as they will go. Bring them out about 3/4 of the way, maybe a little bit more. But what the priority is now is I'm going to bring my femurs into as much internal rotation as I can bring them in. So I'm going to bring my feet way out, okay? And that's going to bring my femurs into internal rotation. Now I'm going to go down on my forearms. I'm going to tuck my tail, chin is in, eyes are down. And now I'm simply going to sink my butt straight back until I get a real nasty pull in my groin area. And I'm going to hold and breathe for 30 seconds. And every time I breathe out, I just feel like I'm sitting my butt back a little bit further. And then now what I can do is I can feel like I'm dislocating my hips by pushing my knees away from me now in this position. And that's going to give me a bigger stretch into the adductor brevis. Once the 30 seconds is up, slowly relax, slowly come out of that stretch. Come up, give yourself a second. And again, for that particular movement, I would like to see it done 3 times. Now, once you finish doing those 3 stretches, now you want to do just a little bit of a mobility. I call them windshield wipers. So you're going to prop yourself up really tall, and you're just going to let those legs drop. So this leg's doing internal rotation, this leg's doing external rotation, and then they're going to switch. And you just switch. And maybe do like 10 windshield wipers with your thighs to finish off the mobility program for your hips. Now, this program is best done at night before you go to bed, after you've worked out, when your body's sweaty, or maybe after you've gone for a walk or a jog or whatever cardiovascular you do. But again, for any type of developmental stretching, movements like this are better done post-activity than before activity. Just remember, if you're going to go play golf, it's important not to stretch a muscle to sedate it. Whenever you stretch, that sedates the nervous system. So we want to, before we compete, we want to warm up dynamically. These stretches here should be done more as a developmental program when you're trying to increase the link-tension relationship of the muscle. And again, that's best done at night, post-workout, post-heating your body up, like going into a sauna or a hot tub or something like that. So I hope this helps you. And up here in the corner, I have the link for the video that I did that you can do to help improve your thoracic mobility. So between the thoracic mobility program and the hip mobility program, I hope this helps improve your game of golf, but more importantly, the longevity in golf, which in my opinion is the greatest sport ever invented.